everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. Hope your weeks are going good so far. Everyone on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream if you're on Twitch. How's it going? There's no way to like the stream other than just telling me you like it. So tell me you like it if you do, I guess. So, how's it going? Good, I hope. Let's just jump into it. Let's just get into it, because we have some stuff today. And Chris isn't doing great. We are playing bingo, so go ahead and get the bingo card if you'd like. First winner gets a free gift sub. And I think that catches us up. No other housekeeping. So let's get into it.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris from New York, Westchester County. It's 2:23:24.
I believe he's freaking out, by the way, because I guess NASA or something landed a probe on the moon. You know how we've been to the moon? They landed a probe there now, and he's upsetty spaghetti, as you're one to do when your worldview is shattered. It's a shame.
Today's a Friday. I'd like to give you a little video called Think About It Friday, just in case if I'm unable to put a video out over the weekend. And I hope you enjoyed my day at the zoo last weekend. That was pretty nice.
Did he post a zoo video? That seems more important than whatever we're doing. Fuck conspiracy theories. Can we just watch him hanging out at the zoo? That sounds incredible. I don't see zoo. Where's the zoo? Chris, I was promised animals? I feel cheated.
Pretty much I got the same reaction as...
Don't worry, we'll be going to a virtual trip to the zoo with Hans later, so... We will have animals. Or will we?
From the animals that I get from people about Flat Earth.
This is the Hans video for later, by the way. So... Get excited, furries!
They just ignore it. They don't want to know about it. It's too much to handle. Even though it's so easy to prove in so many different...
What do I think? Strawberry-topped pancakes with syrup and bacon? Let me take a look. Oh, they're flavored chips? Fuck it, I'd try it. I don't know if all of those flavors are gonna come through at once, though. Like, I feel like the strawberry's gonna underwhelm or overwhelm. I don't want artificial dried strawberry flavor mixed with my artificial dried bacon flavor. That's not how nature intended it.
Aspects.
Angel of the Grove, thanks for 11 months. Cece at the zoo. God damn it.
Alright, so here we are in front of the...
For those who don't know, this was the first video ever posted on YouTube, and I don't think I can play it, otherwise YouTube will get mad. Any opinion on the new Fallout Magic the Gathering cards? I've never played Magic the Gathering. The art is always really cool. I can't say I've seen these cards, but when they did the Doctor Who ones recently, they were great. So I'd have to look, but the art's probably cool. I don't know anything about the meta or the rules of the game, so I can't speak to that. Toreador, thanks for 45 months.
But, I want you to think about something. They have some more bullshit.
Why would they get mad? Because it's possible that the person who owns that video, which is probably one of the original people from YouTube, might have that copyrighted and might...
Some more bullshit for us! Where... Have we gotten the video yet? I don't think we've gotten the videotape footage yet of our last landing on the moon. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank NASA, okay? Thank you, NASA,
Thanks,
for
NASA.
providing us with more bullshit so we have something to work with. I can't wait to see the pictures. There must be airbrushing.
Oh, I did miss that. Toreador, your stream baby's name is going to be Guacamole Pit Pat. Guacamole Pit Pat.
The shit out of them as we speak right now. But I look at NASA...
I'm gonna write a baby name book.
And I say, you know, NASA, shouldn't you have these pictures ready for us? Like, now? You know, or yesterday? Didn't it land yesterday at around 6 p.m.? But no, they don't have it. They're putting it together as we speak right now, or maybe they've released them. I don't know. I haven't checked Science Times or whatever the hell it's called.
So he's complaining when he doesn't even know if that's a thing. He does this all the time. It's so annoying. He'll be like, why isn't blank a thing? But then the thing is a thing. He just literally didn't take 5 seconds to look it up. He comes up with scenarios in his own head to make himself mad. It's incredible. Toreador says Alucard, Fluffy Fox, and Guacamole Pit Pat. Nice. I forget the names I give until you guys repeat them back at me.
Let's see what pathetic bullshit they're going to feed us now. I hope it's a picture of the rocket too. Let me ask you a question. Who took that picture? Yeah, that's right. Because we're so used to this bullshit. The movies. You see, you have to understand this. You know, when they cut.
Bumble Homestead, thanks for 200 bits and kicking off a hype train.
Cut is when they stop, and they go into a different frame. And they show a different
frame. He doesn't even know the words. He's acting like he invented the Kuleshov effect himself. He discovered it. No, Chris, you're not the only person who's aware of how cuts work.
Position of the rocket. And they show a different position of the spaceonaut. I'm going to call them spaceonauts now.
Got him.
And they show a different position of him. That's a cut. Okay, and especially when they have the rocket on the ground. You see one side of it, okay? Then when it goes on the other side, that's a cut, okay? These people are used.
Chris, yes, there's a cut because you can cut between different cameras. If you have multiple cameras, you can cut between them. Like, what does he think that is proving? Does he think that because there are multiple cameras, it's fake? Like, you can't have multiple cameras covering a real thing?
To that. When you see a rocket land somewhere, okay? And you have videotaped footage of that rocket landing, someone has to be there, over there, in order...
I mean, there wouldn't have to be a person. There would have to be a camera. You could, like, put a camera and be like, oh, drone camera. I don't know if they would do that. I'm just saying, like, there are a million ways you could have a camera that don't involve a person standing there holding it. Tripods have existed for a while.
To film the rocket landing. Yes! How did they get there?
I don't think this is vibes-based conspiracy. I think this is something else. I gotta think about it. It's definitely recording in car. It's old man yells at clouds. I'll have to keep thinking about it. 87% to level 1 on a hype train. Overthought, thanks for gifting a sub.
How did they... Oh, they launched a probe, perfectly positioned it, exactly in the same position where the rocket's going to land. That must be it.
I mean, they would adjust it. They would adjust it if they needed to, Chris. I don't understand what you're mad about. He's so angry. Speedo Spank with 24 months says, clicked on this so fast when I saw Cece. Well, thank you very much. Level 1 complete.
I can't.
Fake Moon? Not yet. Let's see what he says. This is a 15-minute video, so I think it'll probably come up, but I'm not sure.
I can't wait to see the pictures. I hope it's a picture of, like, shit on the side, you know, like instruments or whatever the hell it is, like a tin arm coming out, and just right in front of the camera like they do with the ISS. I love those pictures. They're great, or that live feed.
Seems like
it's always them. Nice. I always like seeing the reflections too. Yeah, that's right, of the astronauts, spaceonauts. They don't look like there's
the prefix astro already implies space. As does, like, Cosma in Cosmonaut. I don't understand what the joke he's trying to make is. He's trying to make it silly, obviously, but, like, it's not really a joke? It's not really a joke what he's doing. I'm confused.
Somebody there filming.
They used a drone cam for the last landing? Did they really? I know that there was testing of, like, a drone on Mars, but Mars has an atmosphere. The moon doesn't. So I guess I just assumed they'd have to, like, send a thing down there and then adjust it. I don't know. Certainly, like, a thing you can do. It's just weird that Chris is, like, assuming that a camera is somehow more technologically complex than, like, a rocket to the moon. His entire concept of, like, tech trees is kind of fucked.
them.
Astro is star, and where are stars? Space. Checkmate, chat.
Like with a weird hat on.
Technically everything's in space, so I'm even more right, is what you're saying. Right is Bunny Queen, thanks for 29 months. 30% to level 2.
On, like we've seen in so many of the videos, especially from the ISS. There was
Overthought says more like actor knots, am I right? See, now that's a joke. Is it the funniest joke in the world? No, but it's a joke, because the joke would be it's a pun, that they're actors. Yeah, okay. See, you'd be a better flat earth than Chris. Better puns.
one of them that was really creepy. It was almost like, I don't know, it looked just freaky. There was some dark hat that was there and some other satanic bullshit that you could see the reflection of.
Satanic on the bingo card?
This is going back a few years. Some people have gotten great footage. So when a picture's taken of a rocket on the surface of Nevada or Arizona, we're not really sure where they're taking, or maybe there might be a Hollywood studio or a hangar somewhere, probably a hangar is my guess. But let's just pretend and say that it's on a celestial object up there, okay? The picture has to be taken from somebody. Somebody has to take
it has to be taken from a camera.
Picture. But the astronauts are in the rocket. So who is taking the picture?
A camera. A camera that's being remote controlled. Chris doesn't understand how cameras work on the bingo card. He seems to be under the impression that a camera will not operate if it is not in contact with human skin.
Who took that video from the moon when it launched off?
Then who was phone? Finikagami says, Tinfoil Tuesday is my son's 2nd birthday. What did you get him, everyone? I brought him all of these people in chat to the party. See? Boom. Good company. The best present.
Something from 1969.
Who's filming him right now? That's the real question, Chris. Who's filming you?
Perfectly pivoted.
45 seconds left in the hype train. 36% to level 2.
They only have one time to get that shot. Going off into the atmosphere. Going off.
That one I do know. That was a remote camera. That's pretty famous, actually.
Into space. Perfect panning. Oh, gotta love that. 1969's technology, I'll tell you. I think it's surpassed us now at this point. I can't even do that on my camera.
We can absolutely... Chris, do you know that you can go right now on the internet and for under $500 buy a 4K webcam that has a little... that's like a robot that will follow you? Like, when I looked for new cameras the last time, I looked at one of them. It'll track you, so if I was moving around for some reason, it would, like, pan automatically. It would track whoever's in frame. You can get that now on Amazon as a consumer. I promise you, in 1969, NASA had the capabilities of building a camera on a stand that did this. That's all it had to do was do this. It just had to go up.
Camera. What was I talking about? I got sidetracked. I don't really give a fuck. Okay, this is such bullshit. It's such nonsense. After 50 years, I want to congratulate NASA for doing absolutely nothing and producing shit.
NASA's older than 50 years. Do you think it's the year 2000?
Fake crap from...
Old.
Of whatever people think they're looking at. Of Earth. Of bullshit. Of nothing. Nothing.
Hey, Poetic Fox.
Nothing. In 1969, they didn't practice this. They just launched off. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't...
Chris, you know how Apollo 11 was the first, like, moon mission to get humans on the moon? Do you know why it was called Apollo 11? Because they did earlier missions to test the systems that they were using. Thus the numbers! Cloud Wizard says it's a high school math problem to find the rate of change of that angle for the camera. That's above his abilities, so he thinks it's above the abilities of everyone. It's very unfortunate.
Put
Zytam with a link.
Stage pushed.
Yep, this is the actual footage he's talking about where the camera follows the lander as it goes off.
Arm is S. Okay, I'm going to get the pro. 99, proceeded. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good. Ag thought.
That's what he thinks we were incapable of making, is a camera that could do this. Pan upward.
a probe up there. They didn't do anything. Couple of astronauts got into a rocket, launched off, landed on the moon, and that was it. Beautiful, well done, and came back.
You're right, that's a tilt. A pan is a pan.
Well done. One shot. That's all it took them. There was no testing. There was no making sure the equipment works. As a matter of fact, the thing wasn't even tested here on Earth. But yet it was launched off into space, no testing at all whatsoever, and it held up.
The confidence is what's incredible to me. Is that he'll just say stuff like it's absolutely true. Like, they didn't test anything! Like, they absolutely did tests. They absolutely tested things and did math. Like, that's a big part of what they were doing, were, like, math and figuring out, like, hey, we know the conditions, and we know the materials we're working with. How do we use these materials to make these conditions bearable for these forces at play to get us to the moon? Like... It's math and physics. Like, it's predictable. It's impressive. It's incredibly impressive. But it's not impossible.
Up perfectly. But now we have to test things. So we're going to put a rocket up there right now with nothing in it, at all. And everybody's going to go, hurrah, hurrah.
Agreed, DM Trey, that he's so, like, self-centered in his worldview that he is completely incapable of understanding that his lack of understanding does not mean something is inexplicable. He thinks if he doesn't understand something immediately in the present, automatically, it is not something that anyone could ever understand. It is such a strange worldview built on, like, narcissism, solipsistic tendencies. It's just bizarre.
Hurrah, and forget about 1969, that supposedly astronauts landed on the moon. And they're thrilled about this. See, this is how much bullshit people believe.
Benekagami says you should watch the Libs of TikTok interview. It's hilarious how stupid she comes off. That sounds awful. I would rather not.
Nonsense. Just garbage. Why isn't there a mirror on the moon?
There is another example of a thing, him just being like, why isn't there this thing? And there is. Fun fact, they did leave a mirror on the moon. You can use a laser device and hit it. And then you can be like, wow, look, I can detect it being reflected back. We went to the moon. And you can do this. You can do that. They left it there intentionally to prove that we were there for this purpose. And he just doesn't know that, I guess, and assumes we didn't. Which is weird because it's so specific, it feels like at some point he was told that, and then his brain reversed it. It's like he was told, there's a mirror on the moon, and his brain pushed that down somewhere because he can't have that be true. Because if it was, that's devastating to his beliefs. So instead his brain flipped it to like, there's a mirror on the moon, there's a mirror on the moon, there's a mirror on the moon, why isn't there a mirror on the moon? Why isn't there a mirror on the moon? Why isn't there, you know what I mean? It's like it took that devastating information and turned it into an argument against reality. Very bizarre.
It was amazing when we're doing when we're proving that the Earth,
the clip from what you sent me earlier, DM Trey.
Earth is level, and we can't afford the equipment that most people have, like lasers and shit like that. But you see, the one thing about a laser is when in a long distance it opens up.
Okay. Here's the thing, my understanding of lasers was one of the things that was impressive about lasers is that they kind of don't do that. Like, not as much as, like, a light. Like, a laser is unique in that it stays relatively, like, tight in a beam, doesn't it? Like, that's it, literally the point, is that lasers, like, sure, everything does it a little, but, like, no, it stays in a beam. It's a laser. That's one of the things that makes it a laser, is that it stays, like, all in one thing, right? They bloom in the atmosphere. But, like, you can still get lasers and stuff that you can do stuff like this. He could go and find a place that has one. I don't understand why he's like this. He says later that lasers lose focus over distance. Lasers are defined by not doing that. Yeah.
Okay, that's what happens with a laser. It doesn't stay in this single point of light. It opens up the further out you go, especially when you're talking miles and miles and hundreds of miles. I'm going to follow up on that in a minute. So why isn't there a mirror on there?
There is.
We should be able to see some sort of reflection. And
like, do people comment this? Do people comment, hey, there is? Does he know? Does he know there's a mirror on the moon now?
why aren't they landing on Apollo 11? Wouldn't you think everybody from America would love to see the site of Apollo 11? I would love to see that. Why aren't they?
You wouldn't, though. If they actually did that and showed that, they would just call it out as fake.
Landing there? Why are they landing all the way in the south area of the moon?
Probably to check for ice. That's usually what they're doing in the poles.
Tell me that, please. They should be landing right at the Apollo 11, or at least a couple hundred feet away, so we can.
A couple 100 feet away.
See, and I
do like the implication that he meant on top of it, literally. Like, I want to land on top of it directly, Wicked Witch style.
Oh, that's right. They're looking for ice. That's right. Somehow or another, their amazing technology said that there was some sort of ice up there that they're planning on using for water and, wait for it,
Fuel.
Fuel! They're going to turn water into fuel! Shit.
Hydrogen. I think it was the hydrogen specifically or something, or was it helium in the ice? I don't remember what it is. But again, you finding that funny doesn't make it unfounded. There's a reason that they want that, so that they can produce fuel. That is a thing that you can do in theory.
Nonsense! Wake the fuck up! This is all bullshit! All of it! It's there!
Here it is. He's mad. Amber Pretzel says, meltdown level, Chernobyl. Chris, please calm down some. I am genuinely worried you're going to give yourself a heart attack at this rate.
There to make you think you still live on a spinning wet ball. That's all it is. That's why they put a planet in every fucking movie. Every fucking
That's
movie.
why there's a planet. You know? He's not wrong. Isn't it suspicious? Have you ever seen a movie where there wasn't a single shot of a planet? I doubt it. I doubt it. That's probably true. There's a planet in every movie I've ever seen. Name a movie. There's a planet in it. Name a movie, chat. Name a movie you think doesn't have a planet. We'll see. We'll see.
There's always something there, something round. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. That was my sidetrack right there. So, why?
Alien. There's planets. You see planets in Alien. You see planets. We see them, right?
Why isn't there a mirror on?
Or they land, of course, for the crashed ship, where they find the aliens. But is that on a moon? Is that on a moon? Hogfather, good answer. Procagom. Ghostbusters. There's a planet in Ghostbusters. There's a planet in Ghostbusters the whole time. They're on Earth. Godfather, Earth. Earth is a planet. It's the main one we think about. We live there. We live here on Earth.
The moon. Surely, and I'm talking a big mirror. You know, when we go to figure out show people how level everything is and go out 5, 6, 10, 15 miles, and all you need are 2 mirrors. It was already an experiment done with that, and that was a brilliant idea because that only cost a couple of bucks, okay, to do. Instead of bringing up...
Rakagam says, Star Wars, that's no moon, that's a battle station. Tatooine is a planet! Alderaan is a planet! That movie has a higher number of planets per capita than most films! You're the most wrong!
Monkey suits and fucking guitars. Why don't these idiots, if it's true, bring up a nice 5-foot mirror and plant it right there on the moon? You don't have to move it around because the sun supposedly is pointing toward it all the time. And also we'll get an extra bonus when it goes to a quarter of the moon or a crescent of the moon. That little area will blink on and off, right? Sure. That's what a mirror does.
Planet formerly known as Alderaan. The debris field formerly known as the planet Alderaan. DM Trey says, I'm not a religious man, but I pray Elon doesn't destroy the Apollo landing site. With no wind, it should be pretty well preserved other than the flag, and I hope it sits as a monument to the human will. Steve with a Q with 100 bits says, Forbidden planet. Can't be a planet in that one. It's forbidden. And Zealous says, Osmosis Jones, maybe? No, they're on Earth! You see the Earth in the Bill Murray bits! He works at a zoo! Anytime you see the dirt, you're seeing Earth!
Whatever it's looking at.
The day the Earth stood still? The Earth is in the movie! It stands still! Klaatu for Rod and Nick too. Fucking Gort.
Exactly.
Hydrate.
Exactly. That's good, folks. I'm proud of you. So...
The black hole doesn't have a planet. I've not seen the black hole. I can't confirm or deny. The robot's name is Booth, though. Screaming at the Radio says, beautiful thing about the mirror is the very simple design. It's really 3 octagonal mirrors, and it ensures the reflected light is going back at exactly the same angle it came in. Oh, nice.
Oh, there's no mirror up there. There's no camera. There's nothing. I mean, we have cameras on Mars. We've got cameras everywhere, and there's nothing on the moon. The closest area. As a matter of fact, I think one camera is like 30 years old. It just came back to life. That's right, but through solar paneling. So something must have cleaned the solar panels on one of, I think it's on Mars or something like that. Just talking about this is giving me a fucking headache, man. It's truly so bad that people believe this shit.
I've never seen Capricorn 1, no.
Okay. So we're showing level ground. We take 2 mirrors. We're about 7 miles away. You can see one reflection over here. You can see another reflection over there. Now you know it's flat. All you got to do is just put a mirror up the moon and tell us flat earthers that that is real and it's a tangible
Chris, it's already a thing. You lose.
object, and you landed on something up there when we know that is not a tangible object. It's not 237,000 miles away or anything like that. There isn't a person with a laser beam that's shooting it toward this object to show you how far away it is and how far it's moving out to space. They say it's a quarter of a... I think it's as fast as your fingernails grow. That's how fast it's being projected out of our gravitational pull. It's great. It's great. But the sun's gravity doesn't have any effect on moons, I guess, right? No. Why would it? It's in the Goldilocks area. You know, the sun...
That's not what that word means.
has gravity holding us there, but it has no effect on the moons, on any other object out there.
What are you talking? It's all affecting it. We're in the solar system. Everything in the solar system is being affected by the gravity of the sun, because we're in the solar system. Our sun's called Sol. It's in the solar system. It's an orbit around it. Systems can have multiple things affecting them. The moon is in orbit around the Earth, which is also in orbit around the sun, both of them. These are all happening concurrently.
There. That's
It's
right.
like any
Mars has a
system,
moon.
any system with multiple things going on, immediately his brain breaks down. Like, he can imagine gravity affecting the moon or the Earth, but the second that, like, both are happening at the same time, his brain just gives up, and he's like, no, 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 that doesn't make any sense. It's like he doesn't understand that, no, most people can imagine situations where multiple things are happening at the same time.
I used to think that was a spaceship.
Oh, yeah, here's the part. He thought the moon was a spaceship?
Effect on the moons on any other object out there. That's right. Mars has a moon. I used to think that was a spaceship. I used to think that was an ancient spaceship that was from a technology that was inhabited Mars at one point, and they made this moon. That's what I thought. That's how stupid I was.
Trey brought this up earlier, but it's almost like Chris is blaming society here. Like, this is all part of a diatribe where he's mad at mainstream science and NASA. Does he think NASA told him that one of Mars's moons was an alien spaceship? Because that's a him problem. Like, what? What is he talking about? He's mad that he used to have a different conspiratorial belief? Like, who is he blaming for that here? He's clearly mad, but who does he think is at fault other than him?
Till I woke up and I figured out that everything has been out there to just keep you believing that you live on a ball.
No one told you that Mars's moon is an alien spaceship.
And that's it. They're just conditioning you. Over and over and over again. And once again, here we are. Nobody's on the moon. They'll never put anybody on the moon. Ever. Never will they ever put anybody on the moon. They'll pussyfoot around and pretend like they're doing something, but they're doing dick. Wait until you see these pictures. They're going to be so bad, and we're going to have so much fun with them. I hope they're being released as I speak. Another question.
Before we get into that. Profane Priestess says, Mars has two moons, CC, Phobos and Deimos. They are named after the gods of fear and panic, chaos, because Mars was their father in the mythology, and as it turns out, scientists are a bunch of silly geeks.
That doesn't make any sense to us, because don't forget, our solar system is moving with the sun. Okay.
Our solar system is moving with the sun. Yes. That's kind of a redundant thing you just said. It's the solar system. That's what makes it that.
I'm in a car and say there's a new virus in town too, and this doesn't help it. I'll get into that in a minute.
What?
I'm driving around in my car and I drop this, okay, on the ground. It goes away, and I move forward. Same process.
Because you're moving relative to the ground. Because you are moving relative to the ground. While the thing you're dropping is falling, it is still moving along. The only thing that slows it down and stops it is the friction from the air, and then finally the friction of the ground when it hits it that brings it to a stop? What?
If you leave Earth, okay? You're now out in outer space.
No, I got those bits.
We are moving at
101?
666,000 miles per hour with the sun. Whatever the fucking number is. I think that's what it is. Bullshit, lies? Is that what they say? Whatever it is, okay?
If NASA took him into space and the moon, would he make up some stuff about it being tricked and it was all fake? There are... How do I put this? There is, like, fiction scenes, like in Avenue 7, that have depicted something like that. Realistically, that's hard to say. I don't know. That's never really been done. Because, you know, space travel's expensive still, relatively speaking. We're getting there. The closest I've ever seen to that is a series called Conspiracy Road Trip, where they took some conspiracy theorists and literally took them and showed them different tests that disprove some of their beliefs. Some of them admitted they were wrong, others don't. So I think it's just dependent. Chris is tough. Chris, I would say, is really resistant. I'm not going to say there's nothing that could change his mind, but he would be on the higher end, far right of the bell curve, I would say, in terms of difficulty accepting he's been wrong.
So you're telling me the capsule is moving not only to keep up with the solar system, but also it's using the gravity from the moon to land on it, and there we go. That makes a lot of sense.
Again, yeah, like, your personal incredulity is not an argument.
Doesn't it? I can't believe people even believe this shit. But I do have to take an opportunity, Bull Earthers, for believing all of this nonsense. Because it is just giving us amusement and games and more material to play around with. So thank you, Bull Earthers. Keep thinking that you live on that spinning wet ball, because you'll be produced the best pictures of black holes, quasars, and all sorts of bullshit. Have they reached the end of the universe yet? I remember that's where I left off when I was studying.
I'm sorry, the end of the universe?
Earth at the beginning. So I can't believe we're only 99.5% there, where we can almost see as far back as the Big Bang. Oh man, it's comical and frustrating at the same time that we can't wake these people up so they understand that everything is a lie. Okay? All of it. The politicians, all lies. Games, baseball. Bye-bye football. Okay? I was right about that, huh?
You weren't. Taylor Swift didn't do the thing. The team you thought would win won, but he didn't do anything. Wait, where's Boxy? Good call. Let me pull up Boxy real quick. Forgot to bring her up. There we go.
All of it. Music. Name it. It's all bullshit. It's all fake. For all we know, we could be living on a digital world, and everything out there is fake, too. Wanted to talk about the trees, but I might get into that during the weekend. I have some interesting information about the trees.
Tell us. He has interesting information about the trees. I'm desperate to know.
That later on the weekend somewhere. Or if not, I'll do it on Monday. All right, I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos.
It's like he doesn't understand other people can use something other than intuitive thinking. Yeah.
Be a part of your life.
Interesting. Thanks, Chris.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 22424. Oh, that sucks, guys. A privately owned company, which is owned by NASA, by the way. Okay.
I'm sorry, what private company does he think is owned by NASA?
Fucked up. Isn't that a shame? Another scrub. Let's take a look what happened. Shall we? So, the lander, we were told, and we saw all the footage inside of the office with the guys, you know, in front of the computer going, rah, rah, rah. Apparently what happened is it landed. Okay, let's get the light on. Light on. Uh-oh, hazard. Warning. And, okay, it landed. Soft landing. Okay, this is when they all go hurrah, hurrah. And then all of a sudden, it must have tipped.
I don't understand from his perspective why he thinks this is good for him. Because if it was fake, why would you fake it failing? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, if he thinks this is all faked, why would they fake it falling over? I don't understand the thought. Profane Priestess says, does CC not realize how big the universe is? There are billions of stars in our galaxies and hundreds of billions of galaxies. How does he think we've reached the edge? It's so big we'll never see it all. To say the universe is big is like saying the sun is hot. It's a comical understatement. No, he does not know. He's very bad with scale. Stone with a $5 super chat says, Boxy has a double space and commentary has a capital C. Do you mind fixing? I don't normally catch you live to ask. Let's see. Which one? Where's the double space? Hold on. Where's the double space that's bugging you? There it is. We and using. Okay, I'll fix this. We and using. And then... This has been bothering you for a while, hasn't it? Are you super happy? Because it feels like you've been, like, waiting for a moment to finally get me to notice this. It's fixed. You're welcome. Anything else I need to fix that's driving anyone absolutely up a wall? Now is the moment to tell me. If there's some very small, weird thing that's been bothering you, now's the time to bring it up. Go for it. I didn't even notice that. Just for the record, if anyone had brought that up, I would have fixed it. I didn't notice. That's not something I noticed that. I didn't notice it had been like that ever. If anyone had brought it up even once, I would have fixed it.
Over. That sucks, guys. Oh, well. Another bullshit mission scrubbed. We might be able to get some pictures in 7 or 10 days, perhaps. Might have landed on a rock. See, the thing is you know, with all this mathematical computations that they did to get this to the moon, we were already up.
Want to do. There you go. See? Holly Hoomst. Now I've learned something. Daima Oni-chan says, I swear that I'm going to start recording videos in my car so I can rise as the anti-Chris. The books in the bookcase need to be the color of the rainbow. Overruled. Fennikagami says, question, if a movie took place entirely in hell, would count as being on a planet since that's another universe, or of pain and suffering? Also, technically, the Earth and Moon dance around each other, orbiting the center of gravity between them, just how everything in the solar system, including Sol, orbits the center of gravity for the solar system, which is a point inside of Sol off to the side of the core. As a result, accurate orbit models, so the sun dancing around itself. It depends on the kind of hell. I'd have to see the cosmology of the individual universe. A plane of existence is not a planet unless it is literally a planet, a spherical object in a vacuum-like space between other planetary objects and celestial things. That's how I would do it taxonomically in fictional universes.
Up there in 60.
Only is capitalized. Let's fix it. I did it again. Speedo Spang, thanks for gifting a sub.
69. Don't they understand, you know, the depth of all the ashes on top of this rock?
It wasn't scrubbed, then Lander's still able to do its job. Oh, that's good.
Be 6 inches here, 7 inches of ashes, of course. But you know, when the rocket lands,
nah, I don't think I've been exasperated.
That's pushed off at all, right? No, it's just, you know, it looks like it was just placed there, and it was, because this is all bullshit. They're just gonna continue doing nonsense to make you think you still live on a...
Okay, the Boxy is what I have opened the criticism too far. Boxy is Boxy. This is where this is how Boxy is capitalized. This is it. We did it. This is the end. This is what Boxy looks like. Done. The comment period is closed. Fan tour is Boxy. Hi, Lou. cat cameo on the bingo card. Oh, are you getting brushed? You feel very smooth, like you were getting brushed.
Spinning wet ball. It's all conditioning. That is all about conditioning. And they'll keep doing it. And in fact, I think I just heard in 7 years they're planning on sending some astronauts up there and investigate what happened and go to the South Pole.
Bummel Homestead says, y'all gonna give Boxy a complex, and Procagom says, put the double space back, it's part of our history.
Investigate the ice for drinking water.
And Alex Markle says, Boxy is a living document subject to constant revision.
When the fuck are you people gonna wake up?
Boxy has judicial review powers.
50
Fun
years
fact.
now. Over 50 years now of just complete nonsense, complete bullshit. When you have kids, are you going to tell them that we actually landed on the moon?
Does my cat count? Lou, we landed on the moon! Well, people did. Cats haven't yet.
Their generation. And they'll tell their kids. And we all know this is all bullshit. So wake the fuck up. Wake up!
Send cats to the moon so my cat has a role model. Who's my cat supposed to look up to? Me? I'm a mess! Let's take a look at the bingo card. Let's see. We have flat Earth. We have recording in car. We have one of our cats making a guest appearance. She's rubbing against the microphone right now, so sorry about the noises. Doesn't know how cameras work. If you say any bingo spaces, make sure you give me a number and a justification if you have one. Yells at clouds, metaphorically speaking. Satanic. Psyop. Just thinks the moon landings are fake. I'd call that a psyop. Aaliyah says, oh no, they did send some poor cat up in the vomit comet. NASA wasn't always the most ethical. Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that. You haven't been to the moon, though. Lou, you are using your butt. I'm telling you. Stop using your butt to press buttons. Is that it? Lou, god damn it. Did he say do your research? He may have. I think he probably did. He usually does, so we'll count that. I think that's it. Okay, moving on. How about this one? This looked bizarre. This is an AI video that looked creepy and awful, so uses AI on the bingo card. The conspiracy theorists have been dipping their toes into AI stuff.
Adam is visiting his grandfather, who will reveal to him the truth about our society. So let's begin.
Hey Bash Bandicoot, how you doing?
Once upon a time, people used to live together, traveling throughout the land as they pleased. They helped each other. There was brotherly love between them. People
I don't know, sounds like communism to me.
understood that they were on Earth to evolve as a civilization.
Grandfather, but we are already a civilization.
No,
But grandfather, we are already a civilization. AI is fucking embarrassing. Come on.
Once upon a time, people used to live together, traveling throughout the land as they pleased. They helped each other. There was brotherly love between them. People understood that they were on Earth to evolve as a civilization.
Grandfather, but we are already a civilization.
No,
But grandfather, we're already a civilization.
grandson, we are not. Civilization only begins when power ceases to exist between people.
But
Fucking what?
someone has to be powerful. And then he protects the people.
Being powerful doesn't mean having power. That's the difference. People have been taught and
Being powerful doesn't mean having power. Incredible.
shown how to acquire power.
By whom?
That's another story. I'll tell you that one some other time. The bottom line is that people have slowly begun to hand over and shift responsibility to a selected few. Have you ever heard about the Cleopatra?
What? Yeah. What the fuck, Lou? Why have you done this? Why have you destroyed society by developing AI? I know you did this. This is your fault.
Alexander the Great.
There he is! You can see him! That's him!
Napoleon, and many others. They began to divide up the territories and the people who lived there.
Those are the three world leaders in history. Alexander the Great, Cleopatra, and Napoleon.
As if they were their property, and humanity began to slowly decline.
Oh, we're sticking with the theme. Ancient Egypt, Napoleonic France.
The people began to accumulate wealth. Material things. They have completely forgotten that the most precious thing is inside each person.
Grandfather, what is it?
Blood?
Sleeping
Precious blood?
angel.
Why is it sleeping? And who will wake him up?
He is asleep because in order to wake him up, the human being, that is,
Marcus Drake says Cleopatra was famously a skilled diplomat, not a warrior queen.
the personality within each one of us, must find a way to the gate.
What kind of a gate?
That gate is the soul.
Soul?
Yes, the soul. And when the personality finds its way to the soul, the angel awakens.
And how does he find that gate? Does he have a map?
He doesn't need a map, he just needs to love the soul. Love will lead him to his soul like a magnet. Just like when you go and find the girl you love.
Grandfather, but that's only in fairy tales.
Well, for some, it's not just fairy tales. Every fairy tale originated somehow. They reflect our history. It's just
Oh my god, no, that's not true.
now we look at them as some kind of fantasy. But we've gotten off topic.
Grandpa, please continue.
Our planet is traveling through space along with our galaxy. Every 12,000 years, planets take a test.
Just like I did in school?
Every 12,000 years, planets take a test? New lore?
Similar. But when they fail in the exam, they'll cease to exist.
Wait, Grandpa, does it mean we'll be extinct too if Earth doesn't pass the test?
See, that just
But
sounds
I
like
don't wanna
a
die.
genocide.
That's why
That doesn't sound like a test. That sounds like murder. That doesn't make any sense. I need my witch hat for this. Is that an AI voice or Pauly Shore? Is this the Pinocchio movie?
Pinocchio!
Father!
When can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? You're needed at the Biodome, Pauly. It's the Leaning Tower of Cheese. fuck were we?
People have to start caring for each other and helping each other. To decide everything together.
Grandpa, we're not gonna get anywhere. We're just gonna be solving things all the time. I don't need to solve any problems for anyone in Africa.
You won't. When it's about Africa, it's going to be solved by Africans, but when it concerns the whole planet, it will be decided by all of us. It's called a self-governing society.
And how are people supposed to know how to create such a society?
Do you remember me telling you about Jesus or the Prophet Muhammad?
I swear to God, for half a second, I was afraid that this was gonna be a surprise veer into a Peacemaker Society ad, and I was gonna lose my fucking minds. I thought we were gonna get a Marcel jump scare, and I was gonna lose it. How do we run our own society? Well, you see.
Jesus showed us by his example of how we should live.
Helping others freely? Your weird nationalistic bullshit earlier that was racist was pretty fucked.
And so did the best of people, Prophet Muhammad.
Yes.
God sent them to...
Yes.
Yes.
God.
Hannah dies of laughter on the bingo card. Alright, this got me. This got me. This is so bad.
God sent them to tell us how to build such a society.
Yeah, here's a link. Someone asked for a link. There you go. Twitch chat.
But we didn't listen to them. Rather, we listened to other false prophets, and here's the result. We are divided, and we are still not a civilization.
So what is the test? Someone's going to ask us questions like in school?
Well, absolutely not. Every 12,000 years, a beam of cosmic energy strikes the planets, like an X-ray, and it's seeing if we're well prepared.
Oh, the level of unhinged things that are about to be unleashed on the internet as more and more just absolutely bonkers people get access to this shit. This is a fucking nightmare. Oh. Oh. Anyway. Toreador says, Grandma, I think Pappy forgot his meds today. I think we all did. I think we all did. Woo! Alright, let's keep going. We're halfway through the video. We're good. We're halfway through. We got this. We fucking got this. Alright, so where were we? The test is some sort of beam. The beam tests us
When
if
we're
we're
prepared,
worthy. Okay.
we can use that radiation like a sailing wind and at lightning speed move on in evolution.
I like that.
But if
I like that, Grandpa. I like that we're gonna get hit by cosmic space radiation that we're gonna use to sail space.
we're not prepared, Climate Cerberus will break the planet.
That's the dog from Hades.
No, this one's worse. This one leaves no one alive and bargains with no one, and he has no master. When he's let off the chain, only all the people together can stop him.
And how do people stop it?
With technologies that they can only invent if they help each other. But in order to invent those technologies, they have to study how this Cerberus destroys his victims.
And why is it called Climate Cerberus?
Because those are his most loyal weapons, his generals.
Generals? There's more of them?
Yes, these generals of his are General Tornado, General General Tornado. General Volcano.
I like the volcano one. He's on fire. Image Dark Beast says, sorry, Grandpa, the beam already hit the Earth. Oh god. What?
You see, you have in the middle there the
Oh god, thank you for the link. I enjoy links to other insanity. Thank you. Oh god. Getting into monster fucker territory. I don't know about that. Is this how General Thunderbolt Ross enters the MCU? Amber Pretzel says, ill day, everyone dies of laughter for 500, Mrs. Blast. Okay.
General Earthquake.
I think, you know, I don't know. I feel like these aren't very creative for what they're doing, and obviously they're like AI images, but like this is the best they could do for Earthquake. Lame.
And General Hurricane.
Wait, why is Hurricane like a fucking mech? The rest were clearly monsters. Why is this one a robot? That's not fair.
But most importantly, they can only function as long as they have a food supply, energy.
What kind of energy?
That beam from space.
Then why isn't the president doing anything?
Why isn't the president stopping the beam from space from powering the Titans?
He's just as human as you and me. Only we people can decide what scientists should do.
Then let the scientists devote themselves already.
Well, they're already breaking their heads, but until we unite and scientists work together, they're going to be breaking their heads until doomsday. But the main thing is to understand what this cosmic ray is and how does it work.
Is that like a flashlight?
Almost. They're small particles. We're like a football net to them for flying bullets. That's why we don't feel anything. They just fly through us, even through the Earth's crust. But our core is like a concrete wall to them. When they keep bumping into it, they
Failed RPG boss concepts.
shift it, preventing it from working properly.
How does the core work? And how do they keep it from working?
Our core rotates and thus creates an electromagnetic field, like an armor around the planet. By crashing into it, they also overheat it, and it's like it's running a fever.
This is
So it needs to
gold.
be given
This is platinum.
medicine and cold compresses like my mom gave me when I was sick.
The planet had such a remedy for this case. It's called the ocean.
Maybe you've heard of it. I know what the ocean. You know, you could have used real pictures or video of the ocean. There's a lot of those.
Ocean? But the ocean is salt water.
The ocean was mainly dissipating heat and passing it on to the atmosphere. We were
What?
pouring dirt and plastic into the ocean. Now the ocean can't dissipate the heat that's warming our planet.
That's not how that works.
When the heat reaches a certain level, it will have the power to tear the planet apart.
Just like Aunt Bertha's steam pot.
And it's precisely because the planet
A weird steam pot.
is sick that Cerberus has begun to indulge. He would have dared anyway, but the chain wouldn't let him go any further. But now the chain is broken, and he's moving freely, destroying everything in his path.
But Grandpa, nobody's seen this Cerberus anywhere.
How come not? That volcano that erupted in the Pacific Ocean, that was his general. Earthquakes all over the world, again his general. Hurricanes and tornadoes, both his generals.
But nothing can happen to us here. We got big mountains like walls all around us.
And do you know what these mountains are?
Normal rocks.
That's a stratovolcano, and those mountains are extinct and dormant volcanoes. They can wake up
Why
at any
did you move next to dormant volcanoes when you knew that that was an issue? You thought the volcanoes were going to destroy the Earth.
time. I have a lot more to tell you.
Jesus Christ.
Come.
Oh no! What the fuck?
Grandpa, I don't want you to die!
Oh no! Why did they age him up and try and turn him into... What the fuck is this? No! That to him. Why did they, when they aged him up, did they tell the AI to make him like hot? Like, were they like give him pecs though when he's just the most disgusting character in history? Run trip fall with 18 months says, the fuck did I come in on? Oh, 18 months. This sub baby's name is Horrific AI Chad, bro. Geeky Chad Chris.
We will defeat you!
And Cerberus is just like, whatever. Well, alright, that was incredible. That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. What do you not understand? That was beautiful. That was one of the most beautiful pieces of art any human has ever created. Okay, unironically, that was disgusting and incredible, and that was so funny and bad. Holy shit. More, please. Anyway, moving on.
Really fascinating about certain movies and video games is the fact that the truth of our spirituality is hidden within. In this video, we are about to explore how the Dragon Ball Z series has intertwined the science of Kundalini rising within its narrative. In ancient times, energy was occulted as a serpent. This fact is seen in many hieroglyphs. The Kundalini, which lies dormant in all of us, is a form of energy which is sexual in nature.
Always with the sexual. Cthulhu Flower, thanks for 11 months, says, woo!
In order to gather this potent energy, one must become chaste. This is done through becoming a practitioner of semen retention. When ancient texts speak of serpents being within man, it is speaking of man's sexual energy which must rise in order to bring enlightenment to the practitioner.
I just wanted to make sure this was framed so we could see everything.
We rise our sexual energy in order to flick the switch and light up our temple, which is the body in which we reside. In this awakened state, we become blissful, and life becomes a magnet for the pure desires of our hearts. In Dragon Ball Z, the serpentine energy is occulted as the dragon Shenron. In order to summon Shenron, one must gather the 7 Dragon Balls. When united, the Dragon Balls pulsate, working together to summon the great dragon.
Did we not talk about the pulsing balls?
Grants wishes. The unifying of the Dragon Balls symbolize the unity of the 7 chakras, or energy centers within man, which must take place in order for the Kundalini to rise.
Poor understanding of Eastern philosophy and or religion on the bingo card.
When this electrifying energy rises, an inner empowerment and unshakable resolve to make her dreams a reality is established. And as the wish is granted by the summoned Shenron, so we begin to accomplish our goals when we harness this potent source of energy and direct it towards our ambitions. This same concept of making wishes a reality is seen in the film Aladdin.
Toreador says, my Dragon Ball Z headcanon is narrated by Pauly Shore, a video essay.
Where the golden
He's doing, syncretism. He's trying to say, look, here are different fictional stories about wishes. Therefore, what commonalities exist between the two must be truths about wishes. That's not how that works.
scarab must be merged. This golden scarab represents the lower and higher energies of the body, merging to open.
Nope, they're parts of a scarab. That certainly is a conjecture you're making, but you can't just say stuff.
Open the cave of wonders, or in other words, light up the pineal gland.
Pterodona, let me see your card for your bingo check.
Within this cave of wonders, Aladdin finds the genie's lamp, which grants wishes.
Let's take a look. Flat Earth, poor understanding of Eastern philosophy. Free space doesn't understand cameras, and Hannah might die of laughter. Pterodona, you've done it. 1 second. I shall write your name down. Give me 1 sec. Do 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 do. So Pterodona is the winner of bingo for the day. We'll still play for fun, but that is the official win. Write down the name. Saved.
This is all occultist.
That was quick. That was a lot quicker than it has been the past month or so.
Spirituality,
Hydrate.
teaching that when we awaken and merge our serpentine energy with the pineal gland, our desires begin to manifest themselves. The genie's lamp resembles the ancient Hindu lingam, which is a holy symbol personifying the union of male and female energies.
It's literally just supposed to be an oil lamp.
To release a substance which empowers. The lingam personifies our pineal gland and the substance which flows from it when activated, which empowers us, placing us in a blissful state. The dragon Shenron and the genie granting wishes is symbolic of the pineal gland, granting our wishes through self-empowerment.
It's not, though?
We are the gods that came down to this existence, this simulation. The Saiyans personify this fact. Goku was sent to Earth, however, he undergoes amnesia due to an injury sustained to the head. In much the same way, we incarnate within this world without the slightest remembrance of who we are, of where we came from. In other words, we come into this world with spiritual amnesia. However, clues of who we are lie all around us, such as in the mythologies of our ancestors. And as we begin to decipher them,
ancient wisdom on the bingo card,
we obtain knowledge and begin to piece together a remembrance of who we are. Goku hitting his head on his journey to Earth signifies that he is not depending on the intellect, but rather the heart to guide him. Goku is associated with the 4-star Dragon Ball.
What did it represent when Goku met Bulma for the first time and was confused that she didn't have a penis and slapped her in the crotch a bunch?
Gift he received from his grandfather.
This is actually about Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z. There's a difference.
4th chakra within man is the heart chakra, and so we see that Goku is a personification of the heart, of pure energy. This is seen in how he selflessly protects the earth from oncoming threats. We see that it is the first Dragon Ball collected when unifying the 7. This is symbolic.
Okay, I got it. Sorry. Sorry, my throat's all fucked up from when I died of laughing earlier. But I'm done with the Dragon Ball thing. I can't with the Dragon Ball thing. Okay, let's see Hans's video. Hans, of course, doesn't believe that apes are real, so here is a video that he calls Best Fursuit Videos Compilation, when in reality, these are just videos of different apes, but he thinks they're fake. So let's do a rundown of his favorite real fake ape videos.
So the first edition of this video didn't quite make it because community guidelines, and I can't show videos of fursuit actors smoking. And there are videos of that on YouTube, but it's not okay if I post that on my channel. And that's okay for this video. I don't need it. And it's out there if you want to go look for that. It's just another
We're talking about videos of monkeys smoking.
piece of the puzzle, understanding that there's too much of this stuff, too many videos that are just not believable. And the reason I'm doing this compilation video is that people have been sending me a lot of these fursuit videos, and there's too many of them. If you watch them back to back to back, you're really going to have to question whether you're suspending your disbelief a little bit too much with these things. And sometimes all you have to do, maybe you're new to this subject, maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about. Great apes are not real. Chimpanzees are not real.
You best start believing in great apes, Hans. You are one.
Gorillas are not real animals. Orangutans are not real animals. These are all fabricated hoaxes, and they use fursuits mostly to portray these animals. And that's it. Now that you know the secret, if you have an open mind, and
DM Trey with 46 months, that's almost 4 years of Hannah time. That is nuts. Jesus Christ, 46 months.
eyes that can function and all that, a functioning brain. If you consider that truth from now on, you may agree in the future that what I'm saying is true and not crazy. So I'm going to let the videos mostly stand for themselves, but for a lot of people, all they need to do is be told one time, hey, consider this, that
Consider apes are a psyop. Toreador says, I also have a best fursuit video compilation, but I don't think you can show that on Twitch. Hey, yeah, bow chico, wow, wow.
you're being fooled.
God damn it.
That it's all a hoax. That when you turn on Discovery Channel, that you're not actually seeing real documentary, real life. You're actually seeing produced footage. And yeah,
produced doesn't mean fake. Documentaries can be produced. That doesn't make the animals they're depicting fake. Right? Like an Animal Planet documentary is produced. That doesn't inherently make it fake.
At that.
That's really cute. Boo, boo, boo. Don't let Hans see this. He'll never believe they're real. Oh my god. Yeah, I probably can't play the audio for that, but just in case. Yeah, he, don't let Hans see this. It is cute. Are they actually... I see. Are the cars remote controlled? Because it didn't look like they were driving. Which would make sense.
I said I feel invincible. It's 100 niggas in the spot.
We're going to take a break and watch a silly sloth video. I also believe, well, sloths aren't people in suits, but they're animatronics, and they're programmed to just hold on to things. Koalas
seems like his entire criteria for whether or not he thinks something is a suit or an animatronic is whether or not it's the size of a person or smaller.
The same way. You can pay money to go have an animatronic just like hold on to you. Okay, next.
I woke up in a new Bugatti. I woke up in a new Bugatti.
In front of our very eyes, they are breaking down the final barriers that separate us and them.
Oh my goodness, that... The person who sent that to me said they don't even eat any of it.
Oh no, I don't even want to know what he's gonna say about this one.
Wild animals. Believe in these creatures as being wild animals. So this one...
Hans, could you have picked ape videos that had fewer copyrighted songs over them? I'd appreciate it for next time. Thank you. So Hans is still disbelieving that apes exist. You know how he is. Here's scary, angry flat earther, man. Gamer G says, I was going to share the monkey driving golf cart video as a joke at Hans, but he already shared the video. Satire is dead. Have some bits anyway. Thank you.
Alright guys, I gotta put this one out there. Number one, because it is truly amazing to me how many flat earth channels and even the spiritually based flat earth channels trying to show what's going on in the world, and how we've all been deceived, not only about the shape of the world, but why flat earth matters. It all truly boils down to, because, you know, there's a popular saying, all roads lead to Rome. So popular it's cliche anymore. Well, maybe it could be rebranded, all false luminary worship, all heliocentric NASA religion that the people that think they're atheists follow lead to Rome and Babylon and the fallen. Maybe there's a reason one of the first things the fallen taught man.
Do we still have, we may have taken this off, but if it isn't, America compared to Babylon on the bingo card?
Or astronomy and astrology.
Those are two very different things.
Because that is truly the basis of the deception that created the globe, the false heliocentric religion. It's a very inconvenient religion, which is the title of the probably Alexandra link I'm going to leave. I know many don't like her for whatever reason. Her presentation, there's too many edits, too many cuts, whatever. But it is undeniable, if you have the patience to just consume the information, get past the presenter, and consume the 2 hours of information. It is undeniable.
A 2-hour flat earth documentary. Oh boy. Hold on, let me save this real quick.
Today, we are going to take a walk through history and investigate the ancient vendetta against God that goes all the way back to the fall at the Garden of Eden and
oh boy,
continues to this day. We're going from Babylon to Phoenicia to Rome and beyond, and trace the families that are still in power today. Hey everyone.
I feel like I know where this is probably gonna go.
I'm Alexandra. If you're new here, welcome. If not, things we do as the
I would like to watch this actually probably sometime in the next week. Just sit down and watch all of this with you, because it is probably pretty interesting and full of bullshit conspiracies. But let's just jump to random timestamps and see what she's talking about.
Bringer of both light and darkness. He was symbolized by the sun. In the same way, the Persian god Mithra was seen as the divine embodiment of contracts and the rising sun. He was born December 25th.
Associated with ops and feminine divine energy, before all of these colours were incorporated into Christian worship. Saturnalia was so popular among the Romans that the early church could not stamp it out.
So they're doing anti-Christmas stuff because they think it's pagan, or think that pagan origins of certain traditions make it evil?
Sun. Natives of Mexico recall that prior to the present age, an exemplary sun ruled the world. But this was not the sun of today. His name was Quetzalcoatl.
Oh god, Quetzalcoatl. Cue the winged serpent!
Religious college of diviners tasked with discerning and interpreting the gods' intentions towards a representative depth. The straight rays of the sun.
This is straight up gonna be Babylon to Rome stuff. It'll be interesting to watch. Saved.
Why flat earth matters, heliocentrism or paganism or whatever false religion name they want to put on it is the reason for creating the heliocentric lie and hiding the truth of God's earth and the truth of Christ, and how truly all roads or all false luminary worship, false religions, false idol worship leads to Rome. We know Rome is who established the heliocentric model in the world, just like they incorporated every other false pagan worship into Catholicism, Christmas, Easter. Well, now you have a reference. Now all roads lead to Rome doesn't just have to be a cliche. When you say that to someone, you can present them this video that proves it.
I'm sure that they will look at you very normally the next time you see them, and not at all like you're a crazy person.
Shows to them how and why. That, you know, we all keep saying, oh, there's a one world religion coming. The one world religion has been here for centuries. It's called Catholicism.
The Catholic fear is interesting. Were we not over this already?
The Vatican runs the little Star of David country in the Middle East. So
oh, here we are.
All right, that's going to trigger a bunch of people. It's the truth. It was established long before that little country. Who do you think established it? Who do you think established the Star of Remphan disguised as the Star of David as their national symbol, which is truly the star of Saturn, the black sun, which is why they are so obsessed, in my opinion, with eclipses. Because what does an eclipse make? It literally makes an image of a black sun with a crown. Because these people truly worship Saturn. That's the first sun, the sun they truly worship.
Jesus fucking Christ. This is a lot of ways to wrap up a lot of beliefs into one big thing. Oh boy.
So, I'm going to leave the link for anyone brave enough. Again, I cannot believe how many people sleep on this girl and her information. I understand not, being enamored with the presenter. We let all men and women be liars. There's people, oh, she used to be in, what's that? Cosplay or whatever. And well, look how far she's come. We all had old lies before we were baptized and reborn in Christ, right? Well,
all roads lead to anti-Semitism. In conspiracy, they do, unfortunately.
I'm hard on people like Jaren because I do have love for Jaren. And to come so far...
To be clear, criticism of Zionism is not inherently anti-Semitic. I do need to point out that in conspiracy circles, they tend to be dog whistles for each other, though, which is why in this context, when anti-Zionist talking points come up, usually it's not just actual legitimate criticism, it's a dog whistle for deeper anti-Semitic beliefs. I'm not telling you it is anti-Semitic to not be a fan of the government of Israel or their policies. Just want to be clear, because I know I have an audience of, a lot of people, and I want to be clear about my position on that.
And still deny the truth. I challenge Jaron in his, rebellion against Christ to present this girl's video and deny it. This girl's smart enough not to do stupid ass debates on YouTube. But I challenge him to debate, play her video, and provide counter information that he believes is truth. Understand the religion you were born, raised in, Jaron, Catholicism, has nothing to do with Jesus. That's why you hate him so much. You think it does.
Jaronism is another flat earther.
It doesn't. It, too, like heliocentrism, was designed to take people away from Christ Jesus, Jaron. That's what I think you're not understanding. It has nothing to do with Jesus. It has everything to do with worshiping every deity but Jesus. So, I'll leave the link. I challenge you to consume the information and try to deny it, regardless of what you think. Don't kill the messenger. Who cares what you think about the presenter? Consume and comprehend the information, and I think it will enlighten a lot of people that still don't understand. Not only all roads lead to Rome, but NASA, all the false luminary worship. That's why Flat Earth matters, and why it is so important to them to attack, hide, and suppress the truth of Flat Earth. Because every mainstream religion on this earth has been teaching the one world religion all along. Just esoterically up to this point. They just have yet to announce it. It's coming out party. So, God bless y'all. I'll leave the link. Do with it what you will.
Well, he's a stressful person to listen to. He needs to calm down.
The 1893 Chicago World's Fair, officially known as the Columbian Exposition, was a dazzling display of innovation, culture, and human achievement. Held in Chicago to commemorate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas, the fair captivated millions with its awe-inspiring exhibits and grand spectacles. Among the marvels showcased were the latest advancements in technology, including the United States' first gas-powered motorcar
We don't have a Cabbage Guy video.
and demonstrations of electricity that illuminated the night sky. At the forefront of this technological marvel stood visionaries such as Nikola Tesla, whose groundbreaking inventions and concepts in wireless energy transmission offered glimpses into a future unbound by traditional power sources. Beyond the official narrative, the fair has been the center of a myriad of alternative theories and unconventional ideas. There are thousands of videos online covering controversial topics such as mudfloods and free energy, which speculate about mysterious geological events reshaping the Earth's surface. Visitors at this grand exhibition lay an unspeakable evil. In the heart of bustling Chicago during the 1893 World's Fair, amidst the marvels of modern innovation and cultural celebration, lurked a darkness that would shock the world.
Oh, H.H. Holmes. This is just actually about H.H. Holmes? The channel I pulled it from was a conspiracy channel. Are they just actually going to talk about the serial killer? How are they going to compare it to Tartaria? Are they going to say that H.H. Holmes' murder house was Tartarian?
It was here that H.H. Holmes, America's first documented serial killer, constructed his malevolent masterpiece, the infamous Murder Castle. With its labyrinth corridors, secret chambers, and sinister secrets hidden beneath its facade, Holmes's lair became a symbol of terror in an age of wonder. As millions flocked to the fairgrounds, drawn by the promise of progress and spectacle, Holmes preyed upon the unsuspecting, leaving a trail of mystery and horror in his wake. Unraveling the enigma of H.H. Holmes and his murder castle unveils a chilling tale of deception, depravity, and the darker side of the human psyche. Herman Webster Mudgett, better known as H.H. Holmes, emerged as a notorious figure in the annals of American crime during the late 19th century. Born in 1861 in New Hampshire, Mudgett later adopted the moniker Holmes, supposedly in homage to the fictional detective Sherlock Holmes.
Did he really? That's kinda dorky.
Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. His journey into infamy began when he relocated to Illinois, leaving behind his young family in 1885.
See, I don't want him to have been Jack the Ripper, because that means that the sequel to Phantom of the Opera is more plausible, and that sequel's fucking terrible. Love Never Dies is just fucking garbage. So I'd prefer that not to be real, because it gives me vibes of the Phantom. I have to pee, so I will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Holmes found employment at a pharmacy situated near Jackson Park in Chicago, a location which would later play a significant role in his criminal endeavors. Jackson Park was destined to host the 1893 World's Fair, officially known as the Columbian Exposition, commemorating the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas. Designed by esteemed architects like Frederick Law Olmsted, the fair attracted millions of visitors from around the world. Amidst the bustling atmosphere of the affair, Holmes saw an opportunity to indulge his nefarious instincts. It's believed that prior to this he had already engaged in some fraudulent activities, swindling money from his employers. With his ill-gotten gains, he acquired an empty lot in the Englewood neighborhood of Chicago, where he constructed a peculiar and foreboding edifice that would come to be known as the Murder Castle. This structure, supposedly designed by Holmes himself, was a sinister labyrinth of rooms, passages, and staircases.
So if he's agreeing that it was made by him, he says allegedly.
In the ground floor were a series of shops.
So this is generally a Tartaria channel, and it's light on the Tartaria so far. I was hoping he would say that H.H. Holmes's house was secretly invented by the Tartarians.
The upper floors contained small apartments, but beneath the surface lay a nightmarish world of hidden chambers, soundproof rooms, and trapdoors leading to the basement, where Holmes allegedly carried out his gruesome deeds. Reports from the time paint a chilling picture. A place outfitted with acid vats, quicklime pits for disposing of bodies, and even a crematorium to obliterate any traces of his victims. Whilst the exact veracity of these claims remains uncertain,
all the graphics he's showing are fictional.
They underscore the
meaning. Can you be more specific?
Macabre reputation that Holmes earned. Holmes preyed on vulnerable individuals, particularly young women who flocked to Chicago seeking employment opportunities at the World's Fair. It's estimated that he may have lured scores of victims to their deaths within the confines of his murder castle, although the precise number remains a subject of debate among historians. Holmes' reign of terror eventually came to an end when he was apprehended in 1893, just after the conclusion of the World's Fair. He was arrested in Boston, suspected of murdering his assistant Benjamin Pitzel and two of Pitzel's children. Holmes had perpetrated further sickening deception by assuming a false identity and living with Pitzel's widow and children, collecting insurance money from his former accomplice's demise. During his incarceration, Holmes confessed to numerous murders.
AI image? Question mark? That looks like an AI image.
Although the actual tally of his victims remains elusive.
Conspiracy theorists have wholeheartedly adopted AI images, by the way. Like, this shit is just everywhere now.
Some estimates suggest he may have killed as few as 9 people, while others speculate a much higher figure, he himself claiming to have taken over 200 lives. Case sparked widespread fascination and morbid curiosity.
Okay, well apparently he's not getting into enough conspiracy stuff in this, so I'm calling an audible and moving on to Evil Gina.
Hello, Michelle Ann Titler here, February 24th, 2024. Recently I found something that I want to read to all of you. It's to do with Q being 9 beings around a supercomputer and President Trump being Archangel Uriel. When I was Q plus 3730 on December 19th, 2019, I was contacted by a number of people who were told.
So Q, she believes, is 9 beings that are connected to a supercomputer, and then President Trump is the Archangel Uriel. Sure.
Told to come and give me messages.
The 9 divines.
One of them turned out to be my ET transmissions, that video, but this is another one that came to me, and I'll read it to you. Hi.
Believes she speaks to aliens regularly on the bingo card.
Michelle, your spirit part is indeed a fractal from the 5th density of consciousness, 3rd tier.
Other plane of existence on the bingo card.
Comprises of 6th and 7th levels of 7 per density. Spirit from Arcturus, that fits the starseed definition. It ranges from 5th density of consciousness, 2nd tier, to 6th density of consciousness, 1st tier. There were 12 fractals of this one spirit. 9 are still alive. 1 is among your online friends. Yes, Donald Trump's spirit part is a 7th density of consciousness walk-in since the 2nd week of December 2016 by a fractal of Archangel Uriel, itself an Archangel fractal of Metatron, along with the Archangels Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel. Metatron
Michael, Raphael, Donatello, you know.
Is 72nd dimension. Archangels are 71st dimension. His soul at birth.
Who's Evil Gina again? She believes in all sorts of stuff, QAnon stuff. Q claimed as a source on the bingo card. She believes in a lot of transphobic stuff. She's really racist. She has a whole organization that exists to try and take rights away from indigenous groups in Canada. She sucks.
Birth was the one of King George III. He was a shadow warrior before being walked in and becoming a light warrior. There are light workers and light warriors. Also shadow workers that help their team and shadow warriors that confront the other team. Q is 9 beings around a quantum supercomputer that can see the future 6 months in advance when all is good.
Believe sci-fi technology exists on the bingo card.
Among them, 3 U.S. military personnel and 6 off-world beings. 3 Pleiadians, 2 Arcturians, and 2 from...
She does think she's married Todd Lincoln.
It sounds like more. Souls are passive recording, head for God, and Pleiadian spirit of John F. Kennedy Sr. is incarnated and has a soul and did fractalize its consciousness to incarnate on Earth and is effectively with the 9 strong Q collective. Q is the Galactic Federation of Light.
She nailed that. She thinks she nailed that. That's the vibe I got. Interesting.
Let's give it up for Kevin.
I'm going to go ahead and start off with prayer. Yes. Dear God, I pray that you open all the ears here and that...
This is a testimony he gives about Flat Earth.
And giving me an opportunity to change lives. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
All right. May 16th, 1989. I was born not breathing. My mom asked for a pain medication from the doctors, not knowing I would be born within about an hour after her taking the medication. She recently told me that doctors had to give me CPR and Narcan to revive me because there was a narcotic in my system still, which makes me believe that the Prince of the Power of the Air did not want me to be here.
That's concerning. That's some sort of delusions of grandeur where you think that, like, the devil or a demon is literally trying to prevent your birth. That's not good. That's paranoid. Like, in the clinical sense, that's paranoid. That is a big red flag.
Fortunately enough, my God had different plans for me. I grew up with 4 brothers and 4 sisters, and both parents in a Christian home. But as I grew up, I grew further and further away from God to the point somewhere along the way of about 7 to 8 years ago, I was introduced to the subject of flat Earth. Just like everyone is programmed to do, I laughed it off and carried on with more conversation with my friend. I woke up the next morning with a link that was sent to me by my friend that told me about it the night before. As I looked into the subject, I became more intensely interested. I thought, this is impossible. There's no way a deception this big can get by everyone. I continued to research the subject and became slightly convinced after a few months, so I started telling my friends and family about it. The responses became abundantly repetitious. I would first get laughed at, and then ask repeated questions like, what about gravity? What about satellites? What about sunsets? Why can't we see other continents? What about the edge? What about circumnavigation? Although no one ever really knew the proper term of circumnavigation. It didn't matter the age, the religion, the level of education of the individuals asking the questions. The responses were and still are very similar. I started thinking, is everyone really programmed the exact same when it comes to this subject? The deeper I looked into the origins of this deception, the more clear it became this sun-centered model of Earth is a complete lie. The pagan origins of the sun god worship religion, heliocentrism, is tied with mysticism, ancient Egyptian texts of Hermeticism, propagated by alchemists involved in the Jesuit Order, Vatican, and Roman Catholic Church. Now, I have a lot more information I was going to give
thing about distrust against Catholics.
You guys about a geocentric, stationary, fixed, stood fast, established, not to be moved, that it shall never be moved, on a broad plain, spread out flat, built on pillars, earth, with foundations, 4 corners, a firmament, and sun, moon, and stars in the firmament, just as the Bible describes, but that term
taking poetic descriptions of Genesis literally
into a full-fledged
common in flat Earth Christianity
presentation speech that I actually get to do in Santa Fe in a couple of weeks. But I'm not going to leave you guys without giving you at least some information. Radars don't calculate for Earth's curvature, cell phone towers, frequencies don't calculate for Earth's curvature, rail gun standing at about 10 feet. 6 infrared photos, see mountains 100 plus miles away, salt flats, abyssal plains. Kansas State was measured to be as flat as a pancake by Texas State University. Watch your sources on that one. Just looked it up and it seemed to be very sabotaged already.
I think he's pointing out the fact that flat earthers will do that where they're like, literally, this state is as flat as a pancake because that state's topography is very flat. And they're like, see, there's no curve, not understanding that elevation and curvature are 2 different measurements. They were measuring elevation differences, not curvature. So I assume that's what he's talking about.
Also, gyroscopes for an airplane are meant to keep an airplane level. I actually talked to a pilot not long ago about the aviation term straight and level. After the conversation in his cockpit, he did admit to me that it does make complete sense that the Earth is level. Okay, so if you would take, yet again, the 24,000 circumference ball, and consider...
Wonder how often pilots get stopped by people like this now. It happens occasionally. I've seen more than one video of a flat earther bothering a pilot.
And then we're flying 35,000 feet high, the distance would change.
Well, yeah, but the ground run is what we care about.
The ground run is, so if the ground runs straight and level, then you're flying straight and level.
Gradients are difficult for flat earthers. I don't know why. It's very black and white, literally. There's no, like, slope or gradients. It all has to be, no, where's the drop? Where's the curvature? You're seeing it, it's just that it's not perceptible. The gradual nature of how big the Earth is and how the curve is spread across the entirety of it, can't see it at ground level. You're too close. You can't even see it from normal plane level.
It makes sense that the Earth is level, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Clearly that pilot's blowing him the fuck off and he didn't pick up on it.
An airplane's rate of descent uses a trigonometry equation to land. That's usually 3 nautical miles to lose 1,000 feet of altitude, cruising at about 36,000 feet. Can take more than 100 miles to land. Trigonometry has a flat base, and Earth's curve is never calculated into an airplane's rate of descent.
That's depressing, Orion Cooper.
And airplanes land all over the Earth. I talked to another pilot about that just a month ago, and he agreed.
Yeah.
So did you just have to...
he does this to every pilot he sees. Good. Great. Good.
Compensate
Do you like gladiator movies?
for curvature due to the flight of descent as we landed just now?
In our minds, no, not necessarily. Yeah.
From the top of the altitude, from the time we hit the runway,
Did they give him little wings like a kid that visits the cockpit?
it takes about 3 miles per 1,000 feet that we have to lose.
Okay.
When I was a little kid, they brought me to the front of the plane and gave me little wings.
So when it comes to the flight of descent, do you have to...
That was pre-9/11, notably. So I guess I don't know how that changed after 9/11.
To compensate for curvature?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay. If you're landing east, and then if you're landing west,
right,
would you have to like slow down or speed up due to Earth's motion?
No.
No?
Nope.
So
Earth's motion has nothing to do with it.
So we don't compensate for...
You don't have to compensate for the motion of the Earth because the momentum is still a thing. You're still going the same speed as the Earth as it spins because you're going off of it. You never lost the momentum.
The curvature whenever we're landing,
We don't do anything
and
with
then we
curvature.
don't do anything when it comes to the motion of Earth.
Curvature is...
I feel like they're unable to understand or comprehend that something can practically not be there when it is actually there. The curvature is there, but on an airplane, what you are doing, you don't need to take it into account because the Earth is so big. As long as you're keeping it level, you're already taking the curvature into account. You're just not calling it that.
So Earth has to be a level stationary plane, right?
No, but for practical purposes in simulation, it can be depicted that way just because for all practical purposes, that's what it is for the task you're doing, but that doesn't make it literally that because it's not. But if you want to calculate things like that because it's easier, sure. It's just not accurate.
Fairly much. Yeah, it's in relative to us, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Are you the pilot?
pilot.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
another
you.
one. Wow, he just does this all the time.
all
That's annoying. Holy shit. If I'm on a plane and I knew that there was someone who was just fucking harassing the pilots constantly, I would be so annoyed. Oh, this is his whole ass channel. Oh no. Oh, we did an anti-fluoridization presentation in Argentina. That's unfortunate. This guy sucks. Oh my god, this is the guy that taught his kid. This is that guy. Holy shit. Okay.
I am the way. Guys, wouldn't mind. Oh, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for coming just to set the stage for the rest of the evening. I'm going to be doing this presentation, and then we'll go ahead and watch a video, and then we'll have open discussion after that. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'm going to go ahead and start here. I do want to start with a shout out to Jim and Naomi. Thank you guys so much for opening up your house. And David Gordon, happy birthday. I'm going to have to check your ID though. Excellent. Lawrence, I appreciate you coming as well, buddy. All right. So let's go ahead and start off with prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you so much. Amen.
Amen.
So, I named this presentation Jesus Christ Astronomy and King David Geology.
That's a hell of a thumbnail. Let's just take this in for a minute. Let's just soak this up. You took the time to make this. Nice timing. I wanted to skip over the prayer. I'm not religious. I don't think prayers are real. But I'm also not going to sit here and just mock his prayer. That would feel weird, so I just skipped it.
With one of my favorite verses that I usually start and end presentations with and or videos with. And it is John 14:6, states that Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. But
and what he
he's
meant
not
by that was the earth is flat.
Not only just that, he's the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. 1 Timothy 6:15, Revelation 17:14, Revelations 19:16. He's the lamp unto my feet and the light unto my path. Psalms 19:105. He's the head of the body of church. Ephesians 5:22. If we are the peacemakers, he's the one that brings the peace. Matthew 5:9, John 14:27. He
Sir,
is the
please get
and the stars of heaven shall
crazy.
And the inspired word of God. According to astronomy, the moon is a reflector of the sun's light and not a light of its own.
I'm gonna move on. I feel like I did a lot of flat earth today.
Just taking a look at Kamala Harris, you know this person, this individual would not be in the position they are unless they paid their dues behind the scenes, just like everybody in the world stage. There's things that take place that the public doesn't see, they don't understand, that has them move up in this very high position. First off, let's take a look here at Kamala Harris, who attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. And again, for those that follow my channel,
it's just racism. It might be sexism too, so
they'll know it's all about the numbers with numerology, with Howard University basically being 33 in numerology with Howard.
Numerology on the bingo card.
What you have here is basically 33 University. And again, the foundation of Kamala Harris definitely.
No, this isn't Call. This is They Live Truth, another conspiracy theorist who is familiar with Call, but it's not him.
Did not move up in the ranks organically, being part of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, again at Howard University. And just taking a closer look here, and there is Kamala Harris. And again, here is the logo, the shield of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And let's take a look here at this one headline. Again, Kamala Harris, the sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority knew all along that Kamala Harris was a winner. And taking a look here a closer look at this pinky hand sign. Just a bit of a closer look here.
Clearly just whatever their sorority is, that's their like symbol. That's like their thing. He's gonna say it's a 6. It's a 6. Is there a divisible by 3 number of people here? Then 666.
And you see that pinky in the air. Again, it's all about masonry. With Masons,
Freemasons on the bingo card.
Learning how to communicate without speaking. The ancient practice of Masons conversing without the use of speech. And this is from a Masonic encyclopedia.
That's an encyclopedia about Masons, but it's not written by Masons, I don't think. It literally, the title is A New Encyclopedia of Freemasonry and of Cognate Instituted Mysteries. Their, as in someone else, not their own, their literature and history. So this is a book from 1970. A non-Mason wrote about Masons. So it might just be a straight-up conspiracy book. Marcus Drake says she probably went to Howard because Thurgood Marshall went to Howard. It's the most prominent black law school. God fucking damn it.
And taking, again, another look at that hand sign with the pinky in the air. It's called this ridiculous name, the ski-wee hand sign. And here is a couple little, what you call mini statues, whatever you want to call them. Again, the colors of the Alpha Kappa Alpha, the green, the pink, And what it comes down to is to make to greet each other. Again, the skiwi is the sound the AKAs make to greet each other. Again, it's just all nonsense, but again...
I mean, it is nonsense, but it's a club. That's what people do. They have little fucking symbols and hand things and things they say. It's a fucking club. Yep. It's not evil. It's just a fucking sorority. It's
and
fine.
when it comes down to it, the hidden Dual 33 in plain sight, which I'll show right now with the skiwi, again, when it comes to masonry, doing things in opposites, doing things in reverse, as always in plain sight, again, the dual 33s. And this is obviously by design, not by chance or coincidence.
So now E's are 33s? That feels like a stretch.
As I show many times with the Grand Sovereign Commander of Freemasonry, and again, the dual 33s in plain sight. Now, it gets a bit deeper.
I mean, those are the number 33 because that's the highest, like, rank of Freemasonry that you can be. So this is a situation where they're going to have a 33. Yes.
A bit darker with these people that are part of the secret societies, and definitely that includes sororities. They're all just branches off the main tree. And let's take a look here, as I showed previously with Kamala Harris. Just take a look here. And again, the signs...
What do people do when they turn 33? Ask me in 3 years. I'm turning 30 on the 12th. I'm going to vomit. I'm going to vomit everywhere. I'm just going to turn stream on the 12th of March and just vomit everywhere because I'm 30.
Symbols in plain sight. And take a look at this hand here. And obviously...
just a normal way you might hold your hand out. Look, it's devil horns! Ugh. No, it's not. Hold your hand, asshole.
See what Kamala Harris is doing. Just like we all seen before with the cover of Vogue magazine with Michelle Obama. And again, this is the hidden hand. And clearly doing the same.
Again, no, that's just a way you might hold your hand. Like, that's fine.
Exact symbol again as Kamala Harris. And by the way, very important, this is the left hand.
I can't relax. I wasted my 20s.
In both
I was an alcoholic for the first half. And the second half, figuring a lot of things out.
Cases. And I'll definitely get more of that momentarily. But the connection with Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama, and you see here Michelle Obama attending this one event at Alpha Kappa Alpha back in July 6, 2019. What do you see Michelle Obama, Michael Robinson doing here? The same ski-wee hand sign. So again, they're all about...
Was she in the same sorority?
About the signs and...
Again, if it's like a sorority at a historically black university and it's historically black sorority, it wouldn't surprise me if they were in the same sorority. Because even if they didn't go to the same school, sororities could exist in multiple different, like, schools. She's an honorary member? Well, there you go. That makes sense.
Symbols, as you see here as well, again with Michelle Obama, the very Masonic hand sign in plain sight. And it gets much deeper and much darker, as we all know this one individual with Anton and his connection. And there you go again, the left hand horns here. And again, this is the left hand path. And this one quote, as you see here, with this organization, and again, the left hand path. So it's very, very important for people to understand this is not by chance or coincidence when you see the left hand in the case of course, Harris and Obama doing the identical left hand, just like Anton,
identical,
as you see here. And let's take a look here side by side. Definitely not by chance or coincidence. And
wait till he hears about Spider-Man.
All three side by side. This is clear as day, undeniable. And that gets into Barack Obama. And they
Obama's on the bingo card.
All these the ridiculous name, the anteaters. Any reason, to give a false meaning, to take away from what it really means. And we all know what that means. And again, talking about Kamala Harris and the whole connection with this sorority, which is foundationally created by Freemasons. And take a look here again when it comes to Barack Obama during his graduation. And again, the signs and symbols in plain sight, with Barack Obama receiving a Masonic handshake, definitely groomed to be in the position.
That just looks like a normal handshake
That he was
what
in.
What are you talking about?
And he is in currently. And again, the G in plain sight. Not by chance or coincidence, this particular angle with the G, great architect in Freemasonry. And also take a look here when it comes to the G with the number system. A through Z is 1 through 26. You flip the alphabet over, you land on G again, it is a 33. So again, Freemasonic hand sign with the coded 33 in plain sight. And again, one thing needs to be understood. It doesn't matter if you're on the left with Obama or you're on the right with Sarah Palin. Again, the left hand.
Very up-to-date, notable, modern politician, Sarah Palin.
And just like Bill Clinton on the left. And you have...
Man, it's almost like this is a hand symbol everyone does from time to time, because there are only so many different ways to hold your fucking hands.
Here, George Bush on the right.
Harold Elliman says, "Hey, white people, Alpha. Alpha is the sorority for that girl who has an organizer for her organizer. That kind of person who knows exactly what they're going to do in this world and has 10 plans to get there and be seen doing it. As a result, successful black women and AKA tend to go together."
Right, using left. And of course, these symbols are interchangeable between hands, but they definitely like to spotlight the left hand. And you even have so-called televangelist Pat Robertson using the left hand while praying. Everybody has their eyes closed and they don't see who he is showing. He is pledging allegiance to. Basically, what it comes down to is this quote by the very famous Freemason Walter Scott. "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first practice to deceive."
Ominous music. Jesus Christ. That's a lot. Do you guys know martial arts is evil?
I was only about 4 or 5 years old as I watched in amazement as a little Oriental man performed
Okay, well that's racist immediately.
seemingly impossible feats of skill and power. A seed was planted that day, a seed which grew silently within my heart for the next 10 years of my young life. I never forgot the exhibition that I had seen that day, and I dreamed of the possibility of doing those things which I had watched that little old Asian man demonstrate with such ease. But little did I realize the darkness into which this path I was now following would lead, nor the lives that my decision that day would influence and forever change.
Oh God, what did you do, and why are you about to blame martial arts?
Today, the martial arts are looked upon as sport, as self-defense, health and fitness, and often as a form of artistic expression.
Yes.
But is this the way it has always been? Who are these men and women who dedicate their lives to these arts and amaze onlookers with their incredible feats of almost superhuman strength and speed? How are these abilities attained? And from whence comes
Let me guess, you think it's demons.
philosophies and spiritual teachings which permeate these practices? Why do we see such a growing influence of Eastern philosophy and mystical practices within the Christian church over the last 10 years? Are these practices focused merely on athletic ability, or are they being used to prepare mankind for the coming of a world teacher and 1,000 years of peace? Are these Eastern mystical arts based merely on human talent and ability, or is there something much darker and more elusive working behind the scenes? The first time that I was exposed to martial arts, I don't remember where I was, but I remember I saw something on television, and it was a picture of this little Chinese man, and he was demonstrating martial arts ability. And he took an egg and set it on the ground and stepped up onto the egg and stood there. And it was only for, 20 seconds, but he stood on top of that egg and then he stepped off. And I was a little child.
That's a trick.
That's always stayed in my mind, when I saw that, because I thought, wow, that's almost like a miracle, that he could.
It's a trick. You literally can't do that. That's impossible. It was either a trick egg or he was holding something and the camera wasn't showing it. You saw a magic trick.
Do that. When I was 12 years old, my parents went through a separation and a divorce, and it devastated my life. I became very rebellious. I was angry. I know that neither one of my parents ever intended to hurt me, but I felt abandoned. I felt rejected. I felt like I wasn't worth fighting for. And during that time, I began really searching for some purpose to life, for some reason to be a man. I mean, what is the reason for being here? And I remember talking to my mother one day about possibly looking for a martial arts school, because that memory of seeing that picture always stayed in my mind. And we found a school downtown in the city where I live. And we went down there one evening after she got off work. And I'll remember to this day that walk. We were walking down the street. It was a downtown, rough part of the town. And the dusk was coming in. The only lights were the street lights, and they were just beginning to glow. And while we're walking down there, I mean, you can see like the pool hall. They're turning the lights on there.
Innocuous blonde with 28 months says, "Oh dear, my third sub-baby arrived and I failed to submit them for naming. Harmonica and accordion are eager to know what their new sibling's name is." The child's name is Rimshot. I'm sorry. Don't name your kid Rimshot.
The nightlife was starting to awaken. There's all these old brick buildings and warehouses, and we're walking down the sidewalk, and all the shops were closed, all the little mom and pop stores. And we finally came to this building, this old brick building. It was probably 3 stories, maybe 4 stories tall. And I remember when my mom and I were walking up, we're looking for this door for a name of a school. And we were expecting it to be, like it is today, this really elaborate, nice, modern. And we found this little doorway. I mean, it wasn't even a full door, a tiny little wooden door, and it had the name of the dojo on the door. So we opened the door up, and as soon as we opened the door up, we could look up and we could see a light at the top of the narrow staircase. And my mom and I started walking up that staircase, and as we're walking up, we could hear the shouts, the kia, the students, yelling. We could hear, the instructor, commanding the students what to do. And I mean, I remember feeling my heart begin to quicken. And I was like, yeah, I'm finally here, something I've dreamed about.
Why is everything little with him? It's one of the only adjectives he knows. It's fine.
Forever. And we got to the top of the steps and we stepped into the studio, and here's this man in a white uniform with this old black belt. I mean, it was, just faded with age.
Thank you, nerdy.
And he's giving these orders to these students, and there was the utmost feeling of respect. I mean, all these students are doing exactly what he says, exactly when he says it. And they're doing these forms, these katas, you know, punching.
It's almost like they paid him for lessons.
And blocking and the kicks and the yells. And I remember trying to take in the whole scene. There's calligraphy, you know, Japanese calligraphy and Okinawan calligraphy on the walls. And there's pictures of old masters and people that have died.
So
you know,
the martial arts you saw were from China, but you went to a Japanese karate dojo?
Founders of the art.
Okay, those are two different things.
And we stayed there for probably 35, 40 minutes, you know, watching. When the instructor got a break, he came back over to us and, you know, started talking with my mother and I. I had to have my mom's approval, you know, to do this.
Trying so hard to make this totally innocuous story sound sinister, right? So far, nothing bad has happened. He just went to go see a karate studio.
And
his whole story here is that one time he wanted karate lessons, so his mom and him went to a karate dojo for 5 minutes and left, and his mom couldn't afford it, and he got vibes. And that's the whole story? You spent 8 minutes telling us this fucking story and nothing happened?
And yet there was something about what we had witnessed.
Vibes-based conspiracy. This isn't even vibes, it's just, oh, so I think this is a conspiracy.
Power and about the violence, about the act.
The violence? They're doing a sport. They're not really beating each other up, they're sparring at best. It's an active, what?
Miss it. So we went home that night, and I didn't ask her what was on her mind, and she didn't tell me, but I knew.
And if I trust anyone to have a full understanding of what's happening around them, it's an 8-year-old boy in the 1980s.
A friend of mine, their older brother, was there at lunch. He was a junior or a senior. He's a couple years ahead of me. I was in high school.
Forrest Espion with 20 months says, "Wake up, Hannah, aliens are angels." Here's a short video on aliens being angels of the Bible.
On July 26th.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for the link. Where did this go? Lost my place. There it was.
And he started telling about this martial arts school that he had found, a kung fu school in the area. And he had been training there.
Kung fu or karate? Because he's treating them like they're the same thing. The one you were just at was karate, because it was Japanese. Now you're saying kung fu again. Kung fu is from China. Which is it?
For, you know, probably a year or two. And he was talking about it, and I asked him, I said, well, how much does it cost? And he said, you wouldn't believe it. He said, it's $1 a night. And I was like, you're serious? He said, yeah. And I said, well, what kind of school is it? Because I was thinking about my mom's apprehensions. And he told me, he said, the guy's a Christian. He said, they have a Bible verse every night. He said, we train, we fight. It's a Christian school, and it's $1 every time you come. There's no contract. And I was.
So it's someone trying to use kung fu to evangelize to children.
So excited. It was like all of a sudden my hopes and my dreams revived. I went home and told my mom about it.
True.
And she was excited. So the following week, my best friend and I, we decided to go visit this school. So we get to the school that evening, and I remember walking in the door, and it was very different from the Okinawan school, the karate dojo we'd went to.
Let me tell you.
When we walked in, this was a very, very old building.
These people were all white. Why do I feel like that's the difference? Why do I feel like the difference is just that this had a bunch of white Christians, and he was less uncomfortable because he was a racist child picking up on his mom's weird xenophobia? Spiritually, it seemed cleaner for some reason. You're just racist!
Single floor. There were all these pictures. When I walked in, I remember walking past the wall, all these pictures of the higher level students in the school from the past 25 years. There was pictures of the men that had made black belt. There had only been 3 up to that point in over 25 years. Pictures of the instructor, pictures of military background, pictures.
Oh yeah, it's because this was the white martial arts place. Profane Priestess says, my dude, your mom wasn't uncomfortable because martial arts are demonic magic or whatever. She was uncomfortable because you were, sad, and she probably felt like it was her fault you were excited about something and she had to tell you no because of money. It's not that deep.
Pictures of just all these intriguing, mystical, ideas, thoughts of the martial arts. So
I thought you said this place did Kung Fu. I'm pretty sure that was a Japanese picture.
Out there.
What the fuck? You're not even getting the correct B-roll.
And I began training. And this school was very unique. They based rank on your ability, and there were only 4 ranks. You had white, green, brown, and black, and you could get a stripe in between, which meant you were just a little bit ahead of the other guys. But the only way to achieve rank was fighting, and we fought full contact, with boxing gloves, 12, 14, 16-ounce boxing gloves.
Again, this doesn't sound like you went and learned martial arts. It sounds like you learned, like, just a bunch of guys punching each other, which is fine, but, like, what? I'm so confused. I'm confused, too, when he's like, it was based on the fighting skill. Like, yes, that's what it is? Like, what do you think the belts normally are? What? I have to pee. I'll be right back.
And we also fought what's called empty hand, or open hand. The thing that really intrigued me the most about this school is because it was a Kung Fu school, the fighting, when it was done open hand, was based on what's called animal styles.
Using B-roll from a Sentai series.
So
it's not even B-roll, that's just stealing footage from a Sentai series.
If someone was a tiger stylist, if they were good, when you watch them spar or watch them fight, you would see them mimicking, the motions of a tiger with their
you stupid ass
hand positions, with their blocking, with their stances. If someone was a snake style, you would see the heads of the snakes or the heads of the cobra as they were fighting. You would see the techniques.
I wonder how these styles got their names. It must be evil magic.
And then the instructor, his primary style, although we taught all of them, his primary style was praying mantis. So when they would fight, you would see the hand positions like the praying mantis. And the mantis was a close-in style. It drew its opponent in and crushed them on the inside. And I was so overwhelmed, after that first night of seeing all these things and the guys, kicking. And I looked and I thought, that's power. That's not just power, but control. It was like my life.
I don't know if this looks like control. Again, there's nothing like inherently wrong with this, but it looks like they're teenagers learning martial arts at a strip mall. It just looks like silly, and that's fine. It's fine to just have fun and be silly and go and try and learn a style of martial arts casually, but like, does he think he looks badass in this footage?
I felt so out of control. I felt like I didn't have any control over anything that was happening to me. And
this
this
looks
is
like
what
footage of people having a fight in a dojo. Toreador says, and I was like, everyone here is kung fu fighting. Those kicks were fast, almost like lightning. To be honest, it was a little bit intimidating.
I wanted. I thought, that's what I want. I want to be able to control my circumstances. I want to be confident. I want to believe in myself. I want to know that
we get it. You saw Karate Kid. We've all seen Karate Kid. We know.
Whatever I set my mind to do, I can do. When we're there in class, you could tell the order, the hierarchy, if you will. You know, the white belts were the beginners, and they listened to the green belts, and the green belts were terrified of the brown belts, and the brown belts didn't want anything to do with the black belts.
Authoritarian personality type alert.
And there was this pecking order of authority. The thing that intrigued me or caught my attention to want to make green belt, to desire that green belt, was one night a week at 10 o'clock after all the other students had left the school, those that had made green belt were allowed to come in to the school, and they would shut the door on the training room, and they got private instruction from the Sifu, the teacher. And no one was allowed to see or to talk about what was...
Good game, by the way, Sifu. If you've not played Sifu, pretty fun kung fu game. Would recommend.
You know, taught in there. So it was like immediately, it's like, what's behind the curtain? I mean, I want that. And you saw the green belts, their ability, and you saw what they could do. So you wanted to have that ability. And you realized the only way that they had that ability was because of that special training they were getting, you know, behind closed doors. Well, after I made green belt, you know, I got to go into that first class. And I remember there was sort of a basic initiation when you stepped into the class, into the
Fennikagami says, but sir, when did they wax on, wax off, or catch the
that high rank class. You lay down on your back on the floor, they'd raise your shirt up, and every single one of them would get 2 slaps.
Oh, this isn't a martial arts thing. This is an American white guy thing. Does he think this is a martial arts thing? No, this is not an import, sir. This is 100% good old-fashioned American hazing. It's awful. This is not an import.
An open palm on your belly.
This is just dudes fucking hurting each other. It's gross.
We had Bible verse each night. You know, there were people that gave their hearts to the Lord, made professions of faith. But then I got to where I was graduating high school, and my dad offered to put me through college. He said, Eric, if you'll move down here with me, you know, outside Chattanooga, he said, I'll pay for your college. So I moved. I hated to leave that school because it meant so much to me, but that was the only school I'd ever, trained in. I didn't know there was anything else out there. And we were told that, we're number one. This is the best school. There's no other styles that do it like we do. And I thought, well, this will give me a chance to find out if that's true. So when I moved down to Cleveland, Tennessee, right outside Collegedale, I started looking for a school. Went through the phone book, and you can open the phone book up and there's all these advertisements, and the bigger the town is, the more schools there are, the more dojos.
Let me guess, this karate school or kung fu school wasn't godly.
And studios. And, some of them would list at the top, the instructor. This is how many, degrees of a black belt he is. He's a 5th dan, he's a 6th dan, and you look at those and you go, wow, this guy's got a lot of experience. And then they would list the different styles or arts that they would teach. And almost all of them said, self-defense, self-confidence, self-esteem. So it really, they lured you in. They knew what people were lacking.
That's just off, that's a sales pitch. You want to get into shape and maybe learn some stuff and make some friends? That's just an ad. That's just what it is. It's weird.
I look back now, after my conversion, and I realize that all of those things that they offer can truly only be found.
Dan is Japanese, Kung Fu is Chinese. I knew Kung Fu's Chinese. I didn't know that the Dan title was Japanese. He keeps going back and forth. He's intermixing them. He's done that a few times.
In Jesus Christ. It can only be found in absolute faith in the Word of God. But
I mean, that's your position, but that is not universal truth, so no, that's not true.
I wasn't there at that point. I'd walked away from church, walked away from God when I was 14 years old. I got tired. I said, there's no power in this. I go to church every week. I'm hearing the same verses over and over again. But it didn't change my life. I went to church and I heard sermons, but it didn't help me deal with the problems I was having with, girls and with lust, or it didn't help me with the problems with, the guys at school that were threatening me, or
hearing quote-unquote born-again Christians tell me, like, when they walked away from Jesus as kids or whatever is so funny to me, because I'm like, you weren't not religious. Like, it seems like you still believed in Jesus and stuff, you just didn't think he was doing anything for you. At no point during this are you not believing it. You're just being insane and thinking that God should give you something, otherwise it's not worth it. Yeah. Who wrote this? Harold Elberman says, quote, "There's no power in this" is such a telling sentence, right? It doesn't sound like he didn't believe in Christianity. It sounds like he didn't think it could do anything for him, which is narcissistic and not, like, intellectual as an exercise.
Or, the bullies. So in my mind, I thought, church must be a good idea, but it's not helping me in my practical everyday life.
Like, see? Like, he's clearly not non-religious. He's just narcissistic. Bittergrin says, wait, he walked away from church at 14, but in high school he wanted a Christian dojo? Right? Doesn't make a ton of sense.
I can do something else. So in a very subtle way, the enemy was moving me from one religion into another.
No, they weren't. You were just bored and didn't want to fucking be at church.
And to look for those answers in martial arts that I wasn't finding in the church. And unfortunately, the answers were there. I mean, I felt like I was getting control. I wasn't afraid of the bullies anymore. I became very...
Is the only reason you believe in your religion is because you're afraid of people? Because that's a terrible reason to believe something.
Adamant. My mouth sometimes would get ahead of what my body was able to do, but there was a pride that was growing within me about the abilities that I was learning in the martial arts. I went to a couple of schools while I was there in Cleveland. The first one when I was at college was an Ishinru school. And I trained with them for 2.5 years while I was there in college. So I heard about a place, a class that was held at the YMCA.
Let's hear about this demonic, satanic YMCA class.
Dad told me, he said, Eric, try the YMCA. I thought, Dad, I mean, there's not going to be anything at the YMCA. I mean, that's like kid stuff. So I went to the YMCA.
There's no need to feel down, I said, young man.
One night, and I walked into a class that's known as Burmese Bondo, or Bondo boxing. And it's from Burma. They had a great influx of the influence from the Chinese above and from the Okinawans and the Japanese. So it was like there was a mesh of these Oriental ideas when it
Oh, god damn it, he keeps doing this shit.
came to combative arts. They believed very heavily in full contact. They did boxing, they did empty hand, and they did animal styles. Although they were different animals than what I was used to with the Kung Fu, it was similar. It was very easy to adapt. I trained with them for 5 years before I made black belt in that style. And during that time, we went to a national kickboxing tournament. It was probably the biggest event that I'd ever been to personally. There were hundreds of people there, and I remember I was a nervous wreck, because I'd never fought in front of that many people, and they've got spotlights on you, and
Myanmar,
and it's
not
just,
Burma.
It was.
I imagine he hasn't heard the name of the country since he was in his teen years or 20s, so that's probably why.
Really nerve-wracking. But then when you get out there, and I remember stepping into the ring, and I was looking around at all these people that were around me, and they've got a card girl walking around, in a bathing suit holding up a number, and I'm thinking, is this real? And,
Remember, everyone, he left Christianity at 14, but in his 20s, he was very concerned that there was a ring girl at this kickboxing match. He was definitely a demonic atheist, though, but he was very concerned about the woman in a bikini.
There was butterflies in my stomach, how am I going to do? All these people are watching. And then the other guy.
It's like when the Christian scammers that pretend that they were in, like, Satanism or demon stuff, it's like they forget, like... And in fairness, the audience is other, like, brainwashed evangelicals, so it doesn't really matter. But it is kind of funny that they don't even know how to lie about this stuff, because they don't know how, like, not crazy people are. They don't know how, like, not super extreme evangelicals think. So they think they can be like, I was an atheist at the time, but also I was very concerned about this woman's breasts being in a bikini.
My opponent climbed in the ring.
Never seen a ring girl at any martial arts competition. He said it was kickboxing, so I'm assuming it was more in the realm of, like, a boxing match vibe than it was a karate tournament or a kung fu tournament.
The other side. And when I looked at him and our eyes met, everything else was
Because
gone.
he says that this was for a place that was martial arts from Myanmar, and it was kickboxing.
It was like, I didn't see any.
Yeah, the child scenes, a lot of them are just actors' recreations intercut with video footage.
Anybody anymore. I didn't hear anything. The crowd was gone. All that mattered was the battle that was in front of me. And when I look back at that fight, it really changed me. And when I came back, there was a newspaper write-up about me and the other team members from our martial arts studio that had made, the grade that had achieved, and pride was built a little bit more. After 5 years of hard training in the Burmese style of Bondo, I achieved black belt, and my instructors encouraged me to begin teaching the art to others. But there was something missing, something of which I had not attained. And shortly thereafter, I decided to return to my first school, for I wanted to test my skills now in the place where I had begun. But little did I realize the spirit that was influencing my decision, nor the darkness into which this path I was on now led. During this time, I saw the fourth man in the history of our school achieve black belt. It was the first ceremony of this type I had ever before witnessed, an event which inspired me with awe. So when I came back to the art, I started back where I was as a green belt, and within 6 months I'd made advanced green. Within another year and a half I'd made brown belt. And the instructor knew that I wanted to be able to teach. I wanted a black belt in this style.
No, I feel like a dick, but this guy's like a scammer, I think, so I think it's probably fair to be a dick. They don't seem that good. They don't seem that good at this. Like, I'm sure, like, regionally, like, at a regional, kung fu tournament or whatever the fuck their thing is, they'd probably have a good time, but, like, I don't get the impression that any of these people are professional level fighters. They're like a bunch of people who locally do this for exercise and fun, and they like to do it, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. You do not need to be in the top, 10% of combatants to have fun. Far, far from it. The problem is he's framing it like these guys are really hardcore, when in reality it feels like they're doing the mixed martial arts version of, like, backyard wrestling, which, again, is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but, like, don't take it too seriously. Just have fun fighting with your friends. That's fine.
During that time, I got to see that advanced brown belt make black belt. And it was the first ceremony that I'd ever been to like that. Candles, and it was very intense. And I remember the instructor looking at me as this other man was being promoted. And I knew that's going to be me one day. I'm going to make black belt here. In 1999, I was the 5th person to make black belt in that school. 5th person in almost 30 years. And it took me 14 years of training to do that. While I was training in these arts, most of that intense internal training came in the high rank class, behind closed doors. When we trained in that class, there was an idea that was introduced to us, and that was the idea of something called chi. Now that term is...
Oh, God.
is thrown around even on sitcoms today. It's everywhere. It's in health magazines. It's in dentist offices. But back in the 80s and the 90s, this was not something that was thrown around.
It wasn't a mystery. It wasn't a secret. You just hadn't heard about it.
Just everybody. And the way that it was described to us by our instructor was this chi is something that God put within man. It's internal strength. It's something that you have to learn.
Again, reminder, he stopped being Christian at 14, but this was the dojo he was at.
Learn to pull from within you and to focus it into your techniques, whether that be kicking a bag or punching somebody or being able to do 200 push-ups without stopping. You had to take this strength from within and draw it up and put it into whatever you were going to do. And that
well, of course it has nothing to do with the Christian God, but they needed to make it that for this very, very religious dojo.
I knew this is what we need. This is the key to why those brown belts and those advanced brown belts and black belts can do the things that they do. And, we see nowadays, in films, Hollywood films as well as documentaries, you see men breaking huge, 500-pound blocks of ice or breaking solid timber, boards, not these little pine boards with pencils, inserted between them, but real things. So we asked about, how do we learn this? And I can remember the instructor telling us, as an advanced green belt, he said, this type of training is reserved for black belt. He said, I can show you pieces of it, how to get you ready for that.
Can't teach you how to score the board yet.
But you won't really learn about how to tap into the chi until after black. Well, one of the things that we did that helped us to bring this power up from within us was, it was called pain class. And I remember the first night that we did this, the instructor had been warming us up to this idea as students for a couple of weeks. Well, we got there and I would face off with my partner. You'd pick somebody that was equal rank as you. We started off with smacking each other in the face. And he would smack me and I would smack him, and you'd start off with something like that. And
that doesn't sound fun to me, but if you're getting into a higher rank of a combat sport, okay.
It increased.
I don't think it's evil. I don't know if it'll help either. I certainly wouldn't do it, but it's not demonic. It's maybe just like dumb.
Smack with hard.
Demibird says this is not how black belts work.
So he'd smack me a little harder and I'd smack him a little harder.
You'd have to be
and
more
you're looking
specific.
at each other, staring each other right in the eyes, and it was harder and harder. And this went on for 5 minutes until you keep getting harder. And you could see the green belts that were nervous. They were taking it easy on one another. And then you'd see the brown belts where they were, just hitting each other hard with an open palm. And they were feeding off of one another's aggression, almost like sharks. And so we would do the face, and then we would do the arms, and we would do the legs, and then we would bring out a board. And usually it was a 1-inch solid oak board or hickory board. And you would stand there and tense up your body and allow them to strike you in the stomach. And you had to channel your breathing. So when you're being hit, you breathe out and very intense. And our instructor told us that this was the first step in learning how to tap into that internal strength that was supposedly inside of us. Something that happened that night that really intrigued me, and I look back now and I understand it more than I did then. He did not allow us to fight after we did that class. And normally we always fought after higher rank class. There was no fighting allowed. And years later I asked him about that, and he said, because you're too keyed up after going through that, you'd hurt each other. He said you wouldn't hold back. So that stuck in my mind. In the martial arts, there is a division between styles. Some styles are called internal, some styles are called external styles. The external styles are styles that focus on really developing the...
Okay, I think I gotta be done with his propaganda. He has, not only is that, he did a second fucking video, there's another 1.5-hour video.
There can be no proof in very high martial arts.
So that's how into this he is. That's certainly a grift.
I've been swimming So I'm glad to have you here so we can have a bit of a change of pace on the channel. I've been swimming in preterism for like a week and for a month. It's been. I think it's heavy. Yeah, it is heavy. Yeah, so I thought it was time to come back out and go into a different deep pool over in a different place. I'm not saying we're getting shallow here, but I think it's time to change the pace a little bit. So tell me, Vicky, what have you been up to lately? How's the book promotions going? You've been traveling around, I see.
Yeah, it's been going. I can't even keep up with about the Bible. It's
supposed to be about AI. I think I'm done for the day. We've been going for 3 hours. Alright. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out for another Tinfoil Tuesday. Glad we got a bingo this time. That's nice. I'll be back tomorrow for probably Chud Watch. It's been a while since Chud Watch, so that would be good. If you're on YouTube, give the stream a like. And that's it. So thanks everyone for hanging out. I'll see y'all soon, and be cool. Love you, Mr. Blast. See everyone else later.